channel, Always Making. My name is Jahan and I have a website called Small Home, and I'm all about sustainable living, thoughtful design, and sharing lots of DIY and upcycling projects for your home. I am so excited about today's project because I get to finally bring an idea to life that I've had for over a year. So if you follow me over on Instagram, then you'll know I've been on quite a journey since August last year to bring my idea of creating timber stained stripes to life. So let's rewind. Back in August last year, I found a bar cart at a charity store which I wanted to upcycle. My plan was to create timber stained stripes onto the timber frame, and after I brought it home, I discovered that I couldn't actually remove the glass panels from the frame in order to sand the timber and therefore create my timber stained stripes. So in the end, I painted the stripes and I absolutely loved it anyway, but I still put that idea in the back of my head for a later project. Fast forward to December when I officially launched my YouTube channel, and the first project was with my friend Sarah, where I helped her upcycle a vintage footstool her mother gave her. So the plan was to create timber stained stripes onto the vintage wooden footstool, but sadly once we got sanding we realized that the timber was too dark for our project, so we ended up painting the stripes on again. So fast forward a few months later, I found the most beautiful set of drawers at a recycle center, and I knew that they would be perfect to test my idea of timber stained stripes. However, instead of stripes, I decided to apply a checker pattern because I wanted something a little bit more dynamic and different, and I was absolutely beyond thrilled with the result. Obviously, I would still love to be able to create timber stained stripes onto some piece of furniture, and this is why I'm really excited about this project. So a few months ago, my friend Aimee got in touch with me and she let me know that she really needed a bedside table and a side table for her home. And when she sent me some reference images, I got so excited, and I knew that this would be the perfect opportunity to bring my idea to life. So I went sourcing and I couldn't find a bedside table to upcycle that would fit into her bedroom. So I decided that we should make her a side table from scratch. So for this project, typically I would go over to Aimee's house and we would make the side table together, but unfortunately she hasn't been very well lately. So I decided to make it for her instead, and I am obsessed. It honestly is so gorgeous. I had so much fun making it and I can't wait to show you. So I won't say anything else, but I really hope you enjoy this episode. And if you do, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. And while you're at it, leave me a comment as well. All right, let's get started. If you follow along over on Instagram, you'll know that I share a new DIY or upcycling project for your home every week. And I live in a beautiful coastal town called Noosa, and our home is a 5-minute walk from the beach, which is incredible because after a long day of making, it's always nice to finish the day with a beach walk. And this is my back deck where I make and upcycle all of my projects. It doesn't get too cold in the cooler months because our winters are really mild, but it can get very hot in summer thanks to the humidity. So sometimes you'll find me working in my studio inside or in my garage during summer. For this timber stained striped side table, I bought a long panel of laminated pine from Bunnings and started by drawing out some measurements. I wanted the side table to be approximately 55 centimeters high due to the low profile of Aimee's sofa. So the first task was to cut the timber into 4 pieces. I wanted the side table to have 3 legs, so I used the spare piece of timber as a bit of an experiment to see if my design for the legs would actually work. Speaking of which, I love side tables and coffee tables with a top that looks like it's floating. And earlier this year, I made a floating glass coffee table using a panel of round glass I found at my local tip shop. And I made the legs using reclaimed timber posts. I got my friend Dave to cut the timber post for me, which I stained, and then I inserted the glass panel into the slits. So as you can see, the glass looks like it's floating, and I wanted to recreate this in a different way. So I spent some time coming up with a design for this project that was also inspired by mid-century modern design. I drew my design onto the timber using a ruler and a glass, and then I cut it out using my jigsaw. And because the pine was laminated, it was really easy to remove this last piece. After making the 3 legs, I quickly checked that the pieces fit together with a round pine panel for the top. It was a little bit wobbly, so as I moved on to sanding, I started thinking about how I could make the side table more stable. I thoroughly sanded each piece of timber and made sure to soften the curves on the legs, but I didn't do this for the top of the table because I wanted there to be some contrast between the rounded edges on the legs and the sharp edges around the tabletop. Following this, I started applying the washi tape in a striped pattern, and I used a spare piece of tape to make sure the gaps between each stripe were the same. I also made sure to press the edges of the washi down firmly to minimize the timber stain from bleeding underneath. Following this, I used a microfiber cloth to apply a very thin coat of timber stain, and I made sure to apply the stain in the same direction as the timber grain to avoid any bleeding under the washi tape. And after the stain had dried, I applied a thin second coat. While the timber stain was still wet, I carefully removed the washi tape. I had lots of stain on my fingers, so I had to make sure I was only handling the stained timber sections. I did get a couple of fingerprints on the non-stained stripes, but I just used a sheet of sandpaper to rub it off after it had dried, so it wasn't a problem. Although I must admit, I was so nervous taking the tape off because you never really know if the stain has bled underneath until you remove it. Thankfully, there was virtually no bleeding, which I was extremely happy about. And then I repeated the steps and applied timber stained stripes onto the round pine panel. Look at those gorgeous timber stained stripes. I'm obsessed. I let the timber stain thoroughly dry overnight, and the following day I applied 2 thin coats of gloss varnish all over each piece of timber. The varnish dried quickly in between each coat, so this step took about an hour, which was amazing. And as you can see, the varnish draws out the timber grain and brings more depth to the stain and timber. I love using a gloss varnish on timber projects because I think the finish looks more bespoke and lavish. I repeated the steps for the round pine panel, and as you can see, as I apply the gloss varnish across the top of the timber, it really soaks it in and starts to look super lush and beautiful. After the varnish had dried, I used some leftover pieces of pine and attached them to the legs by drilling pilot holes first and then installing brass timber screws, which I then used to secure the legs to the underside of the table. This made the table totally stable and very easy to pick up and move around. And that's it. Here is Aimee's beautiful timber-stained striped side table, which I've made for her from scratch using some pine panels. It only took about 4 hours of work across 2 days, not including drying time for the stain and varnish, of course. I am obsessed with the contrasting stripes, and I think one of the best things about this project is that you can use any color timber stain you like. I used a custom stain that I mixed myself, but teak or black or even a chocolate brown would look incredible. I should also mention that I measured the circumference of the round panel, which was 54 centimeters. So that allowed me to evenly space the 3 mid-century modern inspired legs at intervals of 18 centimeters. This helps to not only make the table look beautiful and harmonious, but also helps to distribute the stability of the table evenly. If you'd like to make this table yourself, I have included the tools and materials I used in the description below. I've also shared some images on my Instagram and website so you can have a close-up look at the table if you'd like. But for now, I'm just going to enjoy this table before I give it to Aimee, and without a doubt, I'm going to make one for myself. I'm so sorry, I cannot stop staring at this timber stained striped side table I made for my friend. I'm honestly obsessed, and it's going to be really hard to part with it. But seriously, thank you so much for watching today's episode. Obviously I would have loved to have shared the final reveal from Aimee's house, but as you know, she's not been feeling very well, so I did my best to show you what the side table looks like from my own home, and I'm excited to give this to Aimee in the next few days, and I'll also ask her to take some photos and some videos as well, which I'll share over on Instagram in the next few weeks. Obviously, this has been so exciting for me because I finally brought my crazy idea of timber stained stripes to life. This project is proof that you should never give up on an idea. Keep persevering, keep trying, keep testing, and honestly, I'm so glad I did because I have literally made a side table of my dreams and my friend's dreams. So I think I'm pretty happy about that. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for watching my latest episode. It truly means the world to me. And if you've got some time and you're loving all the projects, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and give this video a like. And please feel free to leave comments as well if you have any questions or suggestions or any ideas. I always reply, and I'm always more than happy to help. But for now, thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Here in Australia, we are moving into spring and summer, which is so exciting because I'm gonna have some seasonal projects coming your way very soon. I'll see you then.